What's going on, guys? Aero here, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I want to talk to you guys more about Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and this video is going to be a sequel to the last Xenoblade 3 video where I talked about my 5 hopes for the game. This one is going to be talking about 5 concerns that I have. Now if you haven't seen the first video, there should be a little eye up in the corner right now, and you can definitely click on that or tap on that if you want to go and watch that video, but I'll also have it in the outro of this video if you want to go and watch it after you're done watching this one. So this video will be about 5 concerns that I have for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and like the last video, these are not going in any particular order, and they're just my opinion, so you don't have to agree with them, but you can definitely comment your thoughts below and let me know how you feel. Alright, so the first concern that I have for Xenoblade 3 is with the tutorials. Now, Xenoblade combat is very unique in the sense that there's actually so much that goes into it with the way that it works, and it's not like your typical game where it's just very easy to be able to pick it up and understand everything right away. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and once you do master a combat system with the Xenoblade game, it is a ton of fun because you actually learn when to be able to use your arts correctly and when to do things to follow up with combos and stuff. It's a lot of fun. And I have no concerns that anybody who already is a Xenoblade fan is going to learn how to master Xenoblade 3's combat, and eventually we're all going to be able to figure it out, and it's going to be a ton of fun for us, because it already looks like it's going to be so cool with how it's combining elements from Xenoblade 1's combat and elements from Xenoblade 2's combat. So regardless, I know that Xenoblade fans are all going to enjoy this combat system a lot, but this is a concern that's mostly about people who are not Xenoblade fans and people who are going to be trying to get into this game for the first time. If you're someone who's interested in Xenoblade 3, looking at a screenshot like this can be really intimidating and just seeing so much stuff going on. And the thing is, if the game doesn't explain it properly and teach these people who are so familiar with like very simple games where the combat is just pressing one button to jump on a Goomba or pressing Y to slash at a bokoblin with the Master Sword, it can be very hard for people like this to get into the game. And I've talked to so many people who've said like, Aero, you told me Xenoblade 2 is such a good game and I'm trying to get into it, but I just can't enjoy this combat. Everything's health is going down so slowly. I'm not understanding exactly how the gameplay works. And for me, I'm always looking at these people going like, Xenoblade 2's combat is so much fun once you learn how to do the blade combos and the driver combos and fusion combos and putting everything together. It's so much fun to do the chain attacks, break the orbs and everything. But the thing is, the game just explains it in such a poor way, and the tutorials just make you read all of these walls of text with like words that don't make any sense because they're describing mechanics that you don't know what they mean, and you can't even look at these tutorials again because they only show you them for like one time for some reason. So it's just really confusing with the way that the game explains it, to the point where pretty much people have to go outside of the game and go to like a Discord or on Twitter or on YouTube and look up and talk to somebody else to learn exactly how to play the game. Now, monolithsoft has said that they've taken a lot of feedback into consideration when making Xenoblade 3, so I'm really hoping that this game does have better tutorials and they can really help people understand this game simply, because I do want a lot more people to be getting into Xenoblade, and of course if this game does explain it properly and people are able to easily understand how the combat and everything works, they're going to have a lot of fun with it, and that's what I want to see. Now, the next concern that I have for Xenoblade 3 is about field skills. Now, in Xenoblade 2, field skills were there to be able to help you discover more parts of the world, and when you were on a Titan, sometimes when you were exploring, you could come across an area where field skills were necessary, and doing that could be able to unlock a different part of the Titan and be able to find new secret areas, or potentially even dig up treasure, or maybe sometimes you needed them for a side quest or something, and they were kind of interesting. People's biggest issues with the field skills, however, was that there were some parts in the story where the main progress of the game was kind of gated behind these field skills, and you needed the necessary field skills to progress forward, and getting these abilities on your blades was dependent on the gacha system and basically summoning blades that you hoped had these abilities that you needed. Now, it's already been confirmed that field skills are returning inside of Xenoblade 3. They've made a blog post about it on their website, but we don't know exactly for sure how these mechanics are going to work. So the thing that we know is that there's going to be areas where once you get to a new area, certain parts of that Titan or like the areas in that location are going to be gated off by field skills, and you're going to need to find somebody who can teach you the field skills to be able to progress to these areas. So it looked like one of the field skills was like being able to climb like this purple vine type of thing. One of the other field skills that they showed was like being able to go on these grind rails. So it's going to be kind of interesting because it doesn't seem like it's going to be like Xenoblade 2 where it's based upon gacha and like summoning, so that's really good, but we don't know exactly how it's going to work either, so we can't say for sure if it's going to be really amazing, because the one thing is that I don't want to get to like a new location for the first time and like be able to not explore everything because certain parts of that area are just restricted because you don't have the right field skill. It's one thing if we come back later in the story because we're going to need to go back back to that area. But like if there's just like a treasure chest up there or something and we can't get to it because we don't have the right field skills, remembering to come back to a location like that after learning the field skill wouldn't really be the best in my opinion, so we really have to see exactly how it works. With the way that they described it, it kind of seems like it's going to be like HMs from Pokemon, where basically like, you know, you'll get to an area where you could probably surf or cut down a tree or something, but you can't because you haven't unlocked the HM yet. But once you do get it, you can come back to these areas and be able to like use strength and get to new areas and stuff. It seems like that's what it's going to be, so we'll really have to see exactly how it works in the game before we can fully judge it, but I do have a small concern about how exactly it could work. Now the next concern that I have is about the reused enemy designs from Xenoblade 2. Now in order to explain what I mean by this, inside of Xenoblade 1 for example, we have a lot of these unique enemies and monsters, and then in Xenoblade 2, we also have these same unique enemies and monsters again, except in Xenoblade 2, we get to see a different design for them compared to Xenoblade 1. So for example, like a Brog looks like this inside of Xenoblade 1, and then it looks like this inside of Xenoblade 2. Now in Xenoblade 3, it looks like they're going to be reusing the same designs for these enemies as the ones in Xenoblade 2, so we can see here the Brog looks pretty much exactly the same as they were in Xenoblade 2, and even the territorial Rotbird seems to be using the same design as in Xenoblade 2. Now, is a Brog going to ruin the game for me? Of course not. I just thought it would have been kind of cool to get these designs inside of Xenoblade 1 and see these same enemy designs in Xenoblade 2 and then get all new designs inside of Xenoblade 3 so we could have 3 different versions of like Brogs and Bunnivs and all of these other types of enemies. But there is a theory that somebody talked to me about, and if this turns out to be the case, then this isn't really a concern anymore, and I guess it really isn't a concern to begin with. It's just more like something kind of really small that I'm a little disappointed by. But there is a theory that somebody said, which is like, because this game is fusing together Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2, and with how a lot of the marketing is talking about aiming for Sword March, which is the Mechonis sword from Xenoblade 1, it most likely means that we're going to be starting out on the Orion Titan from Xenoblade 2, so what if that means that all of the monsters that are going to be here are going to have their Xenoblade 2 designs, but once we cross over and we're on Mechonis, all of the monsters like the Brogs and the Bunnivs and everything are going to have their Xenoblade 1 versions. And if that's the case, then that's actually really cool to see both designs from each universe inside of the same game. Now the next concern that I have is about the music, and I know what you're thinking, Aero, how could you possibly be concerned about Xenoblade music? It's always peak, it's always so good, how could you be concerned? And I totally agree. I'm not actually concerned about the quality of the music itself. I'm sure it's going to be really good, and even the tracks that they've shown us so far are all really perfect. I love all of them. My concern is just kind of the way that they're going to make this music, because the thing about the music is that it's pretty easy to tell, especially with some of the themes that they've already shown us so far, is that the music is also combining elements from Xenoblade 1's themes and elements from Xenoblade 2's themes. Now, of course, this is amazing. Hearing melodies from Engage the Enemy fused together with melodies from Counterattack, it's just really, really nice to hear. But my only small little concern that I have about the music is that I don't want for the entire soundtrack to just be Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2 music mashed together. All of the music they've shown so far is really, really good, but I just don't want for the entire soundtrack to just be about Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2 music put together. I do want for there to be just brand new original Xenoblade 3 soundtracks that are not based around anything with Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2. And I'm pretty sure they've already shown a couple of these, so I'm not really too worried about this, but it is a small thing because while I love Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2, I do want Xenoblade 3 to stand out to be like its own musical game, and not something that I just keep remembering Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2 with. But I'm not really like too concerned about this, and I'm sure they're going to do really well, but I figured I would just mention it real quick. And finally, the last concern that I have for Xenoblade 3 is not having any of these types of cutscenes that can make you feel a little uncomfortable, like the ones that were present inside of Xenoblade 2. Now maybe you might disagree with this, and that's totally fine, but I know for many people, including myself, there were a couple of cutscenes inside of Xenoblade 2 that were taken a little too far in my opinion, and I just didn't really enjoy them all that much. If you love them and they're your favorite part of the game, that's totally cool. But to me, cutscenes like this...
Poppy?
How may I be of service, Master?
Wait a minute! Oh, forget you see that! Torimus...
Or this...
in my bed.
Wait!
Personally, I just feel like that cutscenes like this aren't really that necessary, and I get that they're there for like comedic relief and having some humor, but there's many other ways that you can add something funny into the game, and even Xenoblade 2 does this where there's a couple of funny moments like these ones.
Turtles! 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 Where are you, boy? Turtles!
Oh. Hello, little guy. How are you? What are you doing out here all alone?
Turtles! Handling a man's turtle.
Well, can you fix it?
Shut up.
I'm sorry.
So I definitely still want some humor and funny moments inside of Xenoblade 3, but I just don't want it to be anything that could make people feel uncomfortable. And it's already looking like Xenoblade 3 is taking a much different approach to Xenoblade 2, especially with like how the character designs are not as colorful as the ones that we got in Xenoblade 2, and even like just the whole tone of the game seems like it's going to be much more darker and serious, especially with how the theme of the game is life, and especially like even just looking at the names of the music tracks, this one is literally called The Weight of Life, so it definitely looks like that this game is going to be much more serious and focused, but there's probably going to be some good humor and funny moments too. And not gonna lie, another reason that I just want this is so that I don't have to worry for the next 5 years about somebody taking a cutscene like this out of context, tweeting it, saying Xenoblade sucks, and then getting 5,000 likes. So honestly, I think it would just be better for all of us. But yeah, there you go guys, those are my concerns for Xenoblade 3. If you guys enjoyed this video, then definitely be sure to click that like button, and also comment down below and let me know what you guys think about these. Of course, these were just my opinions, so definitely let me know which ones you agree with, and if you have any concerns for Xenoblade 3 of your own, definitely be sure to comment them down below, and I'll try to respond to as many as I can. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some more Xenoblade content in the future, so definitely be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Click on that bell to become a part of the notification squad. Go follow me on Twitter at Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros. And Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.